Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Soul Eater Season 2, Episode 12 of my show, which is also about Episode 12. Now, before I start talking about it, I am going to mention this. If you guys remember, I said that last week I was going to upload 2 videos a week. I still am going to do that, and it's still going to be 2 on separate days, because 2 in the same day isn't really much. So probably what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to record it today, and then I'll upload it tomorrow afternoon, probably after I finish Season 2 of Big Bad Beetleborgs, because I'm on the 20 segment of episodes of Big Bad Beetleborgs Season 2, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the 20 segment of episodes of Big Bad Beetleborgs Season 2 tomorrow morning, and then I'll upload this video tomorrow afternoon, and then after this video is uploaded, I'll probably record my second one for this week, which will be on Monday. Probably the second one is when I'll upload it. So I'm gonna probably record this video tonight, and if I have enough time left, because on my watch it says 8:30, so if I have enough time, like before 10 or 11 o'clock, by the time I finish this video, I'll upload it then, and hopefully it's up by tomorrow morning. But if not, I'll just upload it first thing tomorrow afternoon. I just thought I'd get that out of the way there. I just wanted to get that small part there out of the way first. Actually, it wasn't really small, it was a big part. I wanted to get that out of the way at least. Anyway, this is History of Soul Eater Season 2, Episode 12 of my show, which is also about Episode 12. And, Episode 12 in the English dub is known as The Death Sites Convene, Stop Dad's Staff Reassignment. And basically, this episode also carries over from where the previous one left off. It shows up with this blonde-haired kid, like in a white robe and like a cross necklace on his neck. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to mention who that guy is. He's actually one of the 8 Death Sides. His name is Justin Law. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Now that I've gotten into his character, I just want to mention something about what's gonna happen in Season 3. Since this is the second last episode, I think I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview. I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler for what... Well, I'll just tell you guys what's gonna happen for this episode. If you remember in my previous episode, I told you guys that the Kishin had escaped. There is also some after effects of it because of Ashura's madness wavelength. It'll cause sort of like natural disasters in the series, and it'll cause like the dark parts of certain people, like Stein, for instance. There are parts of them that have been dormant that are awakened, and it'll also, now that I've gotten into this last thing, I'll also mention it. It'll also have an effect on organizations and witches that'll have remained dormant up to the point. Now, the reason why I mentioned you guys that ahead of time is because the next episode of the Soul Eater series, Season 3, Episode 1, is called 800 Years of Bloodlust, Advent of the Heretic Witch, and it basically carries over from where the last episode of this season I'm talking about right now left off. So I figured I'd do that for you. I'll explain more about who the witch is in the first episode of Season 3 after I watch Season 3 on Netflix. And I'll explain a little bit more about her organization as well. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Anyway, continuing with where I left off. Now, after the opening theme music and stuff, it goes into a scene where Maka is sitting on her couch in the house where she and Soul live, and then basically, after a little while, Soul starts dragging her out of the house to play some basketball. Oh crap, I'm sorry, I'm getting too far ahead. Anyway, I'm getting too far ahead, I'm sorry guys. That's my bad. Anyway, this episode actually continues from where the previous one left off. Well, basically what happens is at the beginning, there's the new, as I stated, there's the new character, Justin Law, who's introduced. Plus, there's also two other female characters who are also deaf subs, by the way. Sorry about that, a little burp there. Sorry about that. If you heard that, I apologize. I had a little tiny bit of a burp, so excuse me about that. Anyway, basically, Sid is telling Death that they have gathered up some of the Deaf Sibes in the other areas to bring them to Deaf City, and Death is wondering about the other ones that are scattered all across the globe and stuff, basically. And then after a few little inquiries, but before I get into that, I also want to mention one other thing. This episode also, there not much really fighting-based stuff happens in this episode. It's mostly just filler. It does carry over from where the previous one left off, but most of what happens in this episode is just like filler stuff for the most part. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. And it's the same with the first little bit of the final episode of this season, but there is a little bit of action-y parts in it that'll show up in the, like, near the end of the last episode and leading into the events of the first episode of season 3. I just thought I'd get that out of the way there. Anyway, continuing on with what I left off. Stein starts walking toward where the area is, and then first it goes to where Maka and Soul are, and basically what happens is, as I said, Soul is basically dragging Maka out of their apartment, and Maka's telling him that she's not going anywhere because Lord Death told them that they have to stay where they are until their injuries have healed. And then Soul makes this little bit of a joke of an analogy about Maka. If she stays that way for so long, she'll start growing mushrooms out of her head. Oh my god, I'm sorry, but that's a little funny. Oh my god. I am so sorry, guys, but that's a little funny. And then basically what happens is, they show up at the basketball court, and now I'm gonna get back into the thing with Lord Death and the others first. I just wanted to get that small part there out of the way, because that's going to lead into what's going to happen in the rest of the episode until the ending part. I figured I'd get the later parts of it out of the way first, and then backtrack, and then just, because the rest of what happens in that meeting is going to be referenced in a flashback, so I figured I'd just go ahead and then backtrack back to it. So if you guys see that, I completely apologize. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I didn't want to backtrack a second time. One time to do it. I just figured I should mention that. Anyway, then it goes to getting back to where I was earlier, Stein is basically asking Spirit why he's polishing all the candles and stuff. And then... Oh, but before I get into that, I'll just mention one other thing. Before Death and Sid talk about getting the Death Sides together, Sid asks Lord Death what they should do about the Demon Sword, which is Ragnarok and Crona, basically. He says that he realizes that Crona was raised by a witch, but just because of that doesn't mean he shouldn't be held accountable for his actions. And then Death puts it off until the end of the episode. Well, what he's gonna do until the end of the episode. I just thought I'd get that out of the way there. And then basically, these two other female Death Sides, Azusa and Marie, they show up at the academy, and then basically after a little weird little scene in the episode where Marie has this little fantasy with the toilet after they walk towards where Stein and Spirit are, and then she said that the reason they're in this situation is because of the wandering of Spirit in the other room. And then Spirit gets a little agitated, and then it goes, and he tells her not to say such things like that in front of Lord Death. Oh my god. But she said that's not possible because she has a tendency to speak her mind. Oh my god. And just a little bit of a heads up about Justin Law's character before I continue. For most of the series, like for the rest of this episode and all the rest of the episodes up to this point, after this point, he has these headphones stuck in his ear, which makes it hard for him to interpret what people are saying. So that Spirit communicate for him for that part. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But that's a little funny if you get it. Anyway, and then after the Death Sides show up in Lord Death's room, basically what happens is, Lord Death explains to them about the situation that they're in, about Takeshi and Ashura, and so on and so forth. And then later on, during the conversation, Azusa asks Stein what the Kishin's madness wavelength would have on the Earth since it's in the early stages. But as I stated earlier when I started this video, I stated that its effects would cause sort of a little bit of natural disasters and cause witches that were once dormant to be awakened. In this case, Arachne, and her organization, Arachnophobia. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. And then, but I'm gonna backtrack one last second here, but before they actually start talking about what's happening, Spirit is like polishing the candles and the candle stands in the school and stuff to get back in Lord Death's good graces because he doesn't want to be transferred in a reassignment. Oh my god. And now, getting back into what I was originally saying, after Lord Death basically tells them that, and after Stein explains what I said before about the natural disasters and how the madness wavelength would awaken the darker parts of certain people, Azusa says that basically, the reason they're in this situation is because of Spirit and Stein, basically. Oh my god. And then she asks Death what he plans to do, and then he says, "Wow, about that." And then Spirit starts freaking out, and he's like thinking, "No transfer, anything but reassignment, anything but that." Oh, and now that I gotten into that part, what happens is with the kids, in the episode, they're basically having a recreational basketball game where they have a little stipulation where the captain has to do some kind of punishment. In Kid's case, if Kid's team lost, they moved his books half a centimeter to the left, and if Marcus' team lost, she had to spend the weekend with her dad, basically. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's a little hilarious. Anyway, then basically what happens is, getting back into what, Lord Death was talking to the students, to the other Death Types about it. After he said the reassignment thing, Spirit freaks out, but then Death calms him down and tells him that he's still gonna be his own personal weapon. And then he's surprised by that. And then Death says that he shouldn't be surprised because he is the only Death Type who is actually a Death Type. And I have a little more confidence in his abilities. And then basically what happens is Lord Death reassigns Stein to Marie, which is part of the reason of the reassignment, and she also assigns he also assigns Azusa to be in charge of the Oceania division while Marie's away. But now getting into it, the reason why he put Marie with Stein in this episode was because she's going to be his weapon partner for the rest of the episode because of the fact that her wavelength has a healing effect on Stein, which can stop his madness a little bit. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. And then basically what happens after that is basically, after the rest of the Death Types leave, Stein is telling Spirit to hang back a bit because he wants to talk with them in private, and it's basically about Stein because he's worried, because he's sure Stein realizes it, but he tells Spirit that his own madness has begun to take hold, and that's basically the flashback part of it. And then, after Maka tells him if she wants to hang out with her Saturday and stuff, which is sort of because of the stipulation of the basketball game, as I stated. And then it goes into the scene where Death and Sid are, and he says that Death put it off before, but he thinks that they should do something about the demon sword. And he says that Death said that basically they allow him to enroll in the school, and then Sid thinks he's a little kidding about that, but he's not really. And Lord Death basically says that the kid has some issues they'll have to deal with, which is why they'll go slowly, and his trial enrollment in the DWMA begins tomorrow. And that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video on YouTube, when I post it tomorrow morning, just give it the real best you guys can. And I'll see you guys next time. And like I always tell you with the series, watch it or I'll take your soul. That's, as I've said before, that's my sign out for this series. So until then, guys, Peace out.